Good morning. It's Sunday breakfast. It's 21 minutes to 9 now. Today, on the 1st of February, is Visit My Mosque Day. It's been organised by the Muslim Council of Britain in the hope that they can reach out to fellow Britons following tensions around terrorism. Mosques around the country will be opening their doors and inviting you to share a cup of tea and get an insight into the day and day-to-day goings-on of a busy Muslim centre of worship. Members of the Muslim community will be there to get to know one another better and you can ask questions about Muslims and Islam and their faith. Joining me this morning is Imam Mohammed Rahman. He's from the Shah Jalal Mosque in Elzik. Have I said that right?
That's right.
Good. And actually, this is something that isn't new to you, opening up your mosque doors, is it?
No, it isn't. I've actually been opening up the doors to our mosque to the wider public, to the wider community for many years. And the reason being is because I believe that engaging with the wider society is a prophetic tradition. In fact, the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, he would receive dignitaries and various community groups and he would host them in his mosque. He would actually pitch a tent for them and give them meals day and night. And in fact, there are records which do explain and do illustrate that he hosted a group of Christians from a place called Najran near Mecca. And they had balanced conversations within his own mosque, and he would give them meals day and night. And I think this is a prophetic tradition which each and every single mosque, as well as Muslims, should uphold in order to enhance a more balanced sort of relationship with the wider community, and hopefully through that a more cohesive and a more respectful atmosphere can grow from there.
Now, you mentioned you've been doing this for several years now. What's the reaction?
The reaction is wonderful. I've had many people, I've had many responses. It's actually enabled people to become more, should I say, less fearful really of mosques or walking past mosques or looking at Muslims. And I think for a lot of Muslims who are living in this country, which are, it's nearly more than 2 million Muslims, a lot of them are actually born in this country, have been born in this country. And I think the obligation to sort of say that, look, we're Muslims, this is Islam, terrorism and Islam have no link with each other, and we're peaceful, abiding citizens of this country. I think it's important for Muslims to do that, but I think engagement is a two-way street as well. As much as we want to engage with the wider society, I think the wider society has an obligation in terms of themselves to engage with Muslims, barring aside media or any sort of distasteful sort of publication.
Come
or
learn
anything
for
like
yourself.
That. Yeah, without a doubt. Because I think meeting with your neighbour is very important.
Yes. Now, when they come and visit your mosque, what's the first thing that they're probably taken by? What do they notice?
The simplicity of the mosque. No pictures, just a normal carpet, bare walls, and the fact that people come in and they're washing their hands, they're performing ablution, and they're praying. I think the simplicity is perhaps is something which strikes them more than anything else. And the fact that there's no chairs, or well, there are chairs, but they're normally for elderly people, and they normally would sit on the floor, and they see the simplistic side of Islam, that it isn't complex when you go to a mosque. And the fact that going there and seeing that people are worshipping towards a particular direction, facing the direction of Mecca, and there isn't anyone who's talking or anything like that, and everybody's chanting prayers, I think that strikes them more than anything else, really. And that's a side of Islam that they see, which they don't see normally, especially within newspapers, etc.
Yeah. Now, when they come, what kind of questions do they ask? And indeed, what can you teach them in a one-day visit, open day?
The basics of Islam, the duties of a Muslim towards their own community as well as the wider society, but also at the same time, what goes on in a mosque, what really goes on. The fact that, especially in the month of Ramadan, when Muslims break their fast very late in the evening, about 9ish in the evening, and then they go to prayers about an hour afterwards or an hour and a half afterwards, and they're praying till about 12 midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning, many people tend to think that, what are they doing, or why are they visiting at these various hours of the night and of the day, And I think it's very important for them to know what goes on within the mosque, what 5 daily prayers. It fluctuates according to the winter and the summer seasons, and that's why you have various times where the mosque is open and Muslims go to pray, etc. And what really goes on, what is the meaning of the certain prayers which are being conducted and which Muslims chant as well? Is there anything which they see as an example, on the media, as opposed to what they hear
Yes.
from their own Muslim neighbours. Really, is there a link or not? And I won't say surprised, but you'll be amazed to find that there is a massive divide between what you hear and what you see.
Yeah, perception.
Yeah.
Dispelling some of those tensions and perceptions and impressions is what this day is all about. Do you think it can be achieved in just one day?
No. I think it's a continuous program. I think it's a continuous initiative which needs to be taken and which needs to be conducted by not just several mosques which have signed up to this particular program via the Muslim Council of Britain, but all mosques should do so as well. I think certain mosques perhaps are not as advanced as many other mosques, and that's because a lot of those who are administrators of the mosques, maybe from the Indian subcontinent. As an example, English may not be their first language, and I think in time they will become more engaging with society. I think imams, especially predominantly, were from the Indian subcontinent, especially with those who migrated from there to this country. But I think now you have first and second generations of Muslims who are now becoming imams, like myself, born and bred up in this country, and perhaps trying to engage with society in a language which they can understand, but in a manner which is more cohesive and more balanced as well. I mean, I go to Newcastle United matches, I play football, I do everything like anybody else. The only difference is that I pray 5 times a day, and when I go to university and many other places when I work, they see that a Muslim is someone who's engaging with society. There's actually a saying of the Prophet in which he said that Muslims are sociable people, which means that they need to interact, not just with their own community, but with the wider community as well. And I think Muslims need to uphold that prophetic tradition. And
you constantly interact, because, for instance, it's not just a day where you're opening up the doors. You're open on Tuesday as well. All are welcome? All are welcome. I'm receiving a group of, hopefully, to-be priests at the mosque on Tuesday to learn about Islam as part of the educational program. And it's not just this particular group that we are hosting. We're hosting many other groups as well. It's been a never-ending tradition within our mosque. And that's not to say that we only do it. There are many mosques within the northeast, especially within Newcastle, who are doing the same thing as well. And it's a wonderful thing for me to see that many other mosques are engaging with the wider society, with the wider community. And I think the more we do that on a local level, the more we can replicate that on a more national level as well. Absolutely. Imam Mohammed Rushmore, thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for having me. It's been wonderful. The Shah Jalal Mosque in Elzik is where you can go today. Any particular time that you're welcoming people? Anytime. Anytime. The doors are open. Doors are open. Go say hello. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you. All the best.